Hello and welcome to the Paddock Podcast with Adam McCullough, Stephen Howson, Jay Motti and me, Joe Smith. We are live with the Paddock Podcast every single Monday at 4 p.m. on YouTube. The Paddock Podcast title sponsor is Manscaped, the global leaders in men's below-the-waist grooming. Enjoy this week's show.
Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paddock Podcast, and I am joined by what can only be described as a plethora,
a smorgasbord
of absolute titans of the Manchester United fan base. I'm talking about your Joe Smiths, your Abdullahs, your housewives' favourites. We've got them all here. Don't start with all the chat about where's Stephen Howson, where's Adam McCullough. You see them every day. This is the elite team here, yeah? Don't worry about it, yeah? So get involved in the chat. And today we're going to be having a debate. Yeah? Some would say.
No.
A wank.
A mass debate.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Sorry. I went two steps ahead instead of one.
Sorry. Later, off camera. No, we're going to be talking about Ralph Rangnick because me and Joe were talking upstairs before. I'm not going to lie to you. I said, I'm done with this guy, you know.
Talking about Rangnick, not me.
No, about Joe.
I know we've just won 3-0, but I'm like, I'm not like I drank the Kool-Aid when he got it because Stephen Howson convinced me. This guy, Jay, Gegenpress, trust me. Oh, he builds clubs, and so did Pundit Jay, who I do another podcast with. And I'm not that well educated on football, as we all know, and the viewers all know. So I'd never heard of him. So I was like, oh right, okay. And he's just been bang average would be a compliment for me. So we're gonna have a bit of a chat and a discussion of that. And everyone, I want you to get involved in the comments. To kick it off, Abdullah, Ralph Rangnick, discuss.
I was quite excited with him coming in. To be honest, he was someone that I knew of. Obviously, I always keep up with sort of what Leipzig are doing and stuff, what he's done there behind the scenes. But then, you look at him, even at Schalke, I think he had that Champions League run. I think they faced us in the Champions League, didn't they, in the semi-final around 10 years ago or whatever. When you look at him, though, as a manager, not very convincing. I think he knows it himself and he's spoken about it. He's not, someone to say that will continuously manage throughout his career, which is a bit weird. Like
someone who's willing to admit he is a shit manager.
Yeah,
I'm not very good at management, which is a bit of a surprise. I got the call from
but you know what? The fact that I'm willing to admit that makes up for it, and I'll still get a job at the biggest club in the world.
I think the issue is where it's gone well is the fact that he has been, not for United, but for other clubs, he's come in as an interim manager, sort of settle things, and then the right decisions happened after him with the next manager, or he's had an influence in transfers and so on, and then gone upstairs. So it's United looking at that trend of things and saying, all right, this can work for us. He is probably going to get us top. Well, obviously he didn't get us top 4, but we're thinking he's probably going to get us top 4. That's the minimum. We end up not getting top 4, and that's where it's gone wrong, because I think he settles the ship a little bit. You make top 4. He goes straight to the top, starts, in this consulting role. Obviously now he's going to take over Austria at the same time. This is where it's like, has it been worth missing out top 4 for this? And it's such a difficult debate for me because I think it sort of needed to happen, this sort of move where you're bringing in the likes of this guy that can have an influence at Man United from the top. The changes that we've seen around him, hopefully we get someone in like Paul Mitchell coming in as well. We've seen what's happened with Matt Judge. Those changes have had to happen. And if you've got to bite the bullet for one season and not play Champions League football, for me, then I don't have an issue. I think when you look at what Liverpool did, they were in the Europa League final one season, then 2 years later, they're in the Champions League final, the year after that Champions League final again. That period, they quickly grew and they just kept improving the side with just a couple of changes as well. I think they went from having Emre Can or Lallana was it on the right wing against Real Madrid in the Champions League final after Salah got injured to upping the quality of that squad and rapidly growing into what they are now. And I think Man United can do that. It's not impossible to do that. I think United are actually in a better situation than we think they are. It's about changing those from above. And Ralph had to come in. In my opinion, I think it's as wild as it might sound, but I would have kept Michael Carrick and then bought in Ralph straight away at the top.
It doesn't sound. I wouldn't
have had a problem because the free games were
Michael
impressive.
Carrick gave us that bounce back. Like people say, Ralph turned it around. He didn't. Michael Carrick did.
Yeah.
We drew with Chelsea. Chelsea were doing well at the time. We drew with them. We beat
They were
Villarreal.
still in the title challenge.
Beat Villarreal to get into the last 16, which is as far as we got because we didn't get any further than that.
Yeah.
And we beat Arsenal at home in a night and a game which felt like United of old. Baggers, we was at the Arsenal game together. Yeah. And it felt like, Ralph Rangnick is coming into a good situation here. He's coming into a situation where top fours, I can't remember we're in top four, we're just touching it. You're in the last bit of the Champions League with a good result over Villarreal. You've gone to Stamford Bridge and got a solid result, even an unspectacular one. Like, Michael Carrick has given you a good sort of sounding board there, rather than you've inherited this from Ole where everything was going wrong.
Yeah, but I think I said this before. I think things were still going all right up until the Middlesbrough game in the FA Cup. I still think there was some good things about it. There was just that. Remember, we had that stage of we just couldn't score goals. People were saying how good Ralph Rangnick had us playing.
Yeah.
And then the Middlesbrough game happened. We get knocked out of there. We then draw to Burnley 1-1 in the midweek. We draw a few more
drew
games.
Southampton
Villa as
time.
well. I think
And
you
then we
can
had
throw in there
Southampton.
2-0 up against Villa. Was that
it was
around
after
that
the
time?
Then we went 1-1. We get knocked out.
ago.
Burnley 1-1. Southampton 0-0. And then we had two half decent results. And then we had that run of we got battered by City. We had those really bad results. And you just kind of went, that kind of derailed things. And I've always felt with Rangnick is that he's come in, he's tried the pressing thing and gone, these can't do this.
Trying it for half an hour
and I don't
against
think,
Palace,
and I don't think he's got a plan B. He said he's not a good manager. I think he could probably. I think he's literally got. Well, I have my players run the bollocks off for 90 minutes, press them up high up there. Did it for half an hour against Crystal Palace. It kind of worked, but then they went, we're knackered, lads. We can't do this again. And that was it. I don't think he went, okay, we can do this. I think he's tried dropping a few players out, but realistically, you know, the likes of Fred getting injured as well in the last few weeks, there's no change there. McTominay's important, even though he's had a bad season, because Matic can't do what he's been doing. You've got Ronaldo up there, would play like Ronaldo playing in the Rangnick system normally, probably not. Rashford would, but has been woeful. That's why Alanga's kept his place. I just don't think he's got the players to do what he needs to do. And he spoke about this week about Conte. You know, I think there's a little thing about Conte. He said, if you look at what they did in January, they signed Kulusevski and the midfielder, what's the midfielder called? Bentancur. And they're going to get top four. I think they'll get it over Arsenal. And they've looked good. But this is the thing, is that they've kind of put a little plaster over it with Conte. And they're going to get fourth. And we could have probably done that. Conte would have come in, maybe signed one player, go to three at the back. Phil Jones plays in the middle of the back three, and we go, we're amazing again. We're good here.
Now we're talking.
We get fourth. We win. We get to the final FA Cup and get beat 6-0 by Liverpool because they're just better than us. That might have happened if we'd had Conte in, but all these other changes wouldn't have happened, I don't think. You'd have still been in a very, very similar position. And I think that for them to take the step back and go, look, we don't want Antonio Conte. We don't want three at the back. We don't want these things. We want to do it this way. Yes, we're going to miss out on Champions League football, but you're hoping long term it was the right decision. But you are right. I do think Ralph Rangnick's had an absolute stinker when it's come to.
I do want to say one thing just before you jump in, Joe. I admit the players have let him down. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I don't think you can say, I can say, oh, well, the players have been good, he's just been awful. And I'm not, I see awful as a bit of a stretch. I just don't think he's been good enough. But I think he has been let down. Marcus Rashford's form's fallen off a cliff. I don't necessarily think you can blame Ralph Rangnick for that, although he does play him on the right a lot, and I would prefer to see him on the left a bit more. I think that you look at the situation with certain other players, obviously Mason Greenwood's out of the equation. That's nothing to do with Ralph Rangnick whatsoever. You've got Raphael Varane constantly injured. Fred, who's been one of his shining stars, gets injured. Cavani, he's on holiday. I mean, don't get me started on his reception last night. I'll end up swearing. Yeah. I mean, he's had a bad hand that he's dealt with. I just don't think he's dealt with it very well.
I don't think he's been obviously amazing as a manager. And I think there was a point, and I said this before Ole got sacked, that there was, because Lampard and Ole were so sort of intertwined in terms of their reputations of former sort of club legends coming back, inexperienced, probably didn't quite deserve the job they were getting, both of them expected to fail. Their storylines had almost become sort of interwoven with each other. Who'll get sacked first? Who's better out of the two? Lampard versus Solskjaer, all this stuff. That when Lampard got sacked and was replaced by Tuchel and they won the Champions League, I genuinely think there's a lot of United fans and football fans generally who thought, if we sack Ole, we'll win the Champions League this season. Like, that had almost become the narrative. Like, look what Chelsea did. Well, let's just get rid of Ole and win the Champions League. Like those two things just happen automatically. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have got rid of Ole, and, you know, I think Rangnick should have done better. But this team was never good enough to win the Champions League. And maybe, like you said before, or we've all said before, you don't have to be the best team in Europe to win the Champions League. I get that. But I'm more happy to see the players exposed for the lazy, can't be arsed dickheads that some of them are. Not all of them are that, and, you know, maybe some of them are just having a bad season. But all of the players' blame was taken away and put on Solskjaer when he was manager. and we're actually seeing for once the players take a bit have a bit of culpability for the awful job they've been doing. It's not all their fault, but it's more their fault than we've seen in the last couple of years. I also think that the things he said off the pitch are worth the poor results, because let's say we finish in the top 4 next season. What are the odds we win the Champions League? Even when we had the best manager ever and the best teams in Europe, we only won it twice in 26 years. And I'm not saying we couldn't win it by fluke or by luck or by merit, but chances are we weren't going to win it next year anyway. So let's actually shine attention at the problems at the club. Half the players don't care. The recruitment team is shit. Woodward has been crap for a long time. The Glazers get stuck in and get and trip people over when they're trying to do a good job. Let's draw attention to all those things, and that's what Rangnick has done. And I think that will do far more to help the club over the next 5 to 10 years than, like you said, papering over the cracks with a Conte or finishing top 4. And actually, it's not too bad, lads. Let's get rid of 9 players, bring 5 in, bring 4 in from the academy, and work towards being a sustainable, proper club, rather than just going, that was good enough, same again next year. That was good enough, same again next year. We need wholesale change, and I think Rangnick has finally allowed people to see that.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying now. You make some very good points. The thing about, we do need a massive sea change at United. We've been saying that. My sort of queries, I've been reading quite a few articles recently about Ralph Rangnick and about his influence and about certain things that are going on behind the scenes. Andy Mitten's written a really good piece in The Athletic on it all. And I just have my doubts about how much of an influence he's had anyway on this. I think a lot of this was happening anyway. I think John Murtagh, Richard Arnold, are people that are going, we're already in the mindset of we're doing this. Mm-hmm. We're bringing in Ten Hag in the summer. We're having a director of football. We're having this coming in. It wasn't Ralph Rangnick coming in going, well, this is what you need to do. These are all the shambles. You need to restructure it all. The Glazers are horrible, in case you didn't know. And a lot of these players aren't good enough. I think there was already this sort of was happening. He's maybe okay. He's amplified it a little bit and put it more in the public domain for everyone to see when he's saying it. I just feel like a lot of these changes were going on.
I don't think you should underestimate how important that is, though. Public opinion is massive. And the way that people on Sky and people on YouTube and people on Twitter and people in the pub and people at Old Trafford talk about the team makes a difference to the team. As much as we don't think it does, or that, just to turn off social media, these players see this. And when the narrative is, this man's a clown, this man's a clown.
Well, that's another point that Mitten made as well. Like, I don't keep going on about it, but I trust Andy. He does his own work and he's got good sources. Is that some of those comments haven't gone down too well with the team. And you wonder, is it helping?
I don't think it's necessarily helping the players' morale short term.
I don't think. Sorry, it might not even been. It might be one of his coaches as well.
Yeah.
But if it might be Chris Armas. Right. But there's lots of little things like you're right. It needs amplifying, but there's lots of decisions as well. Like Chris Armas coming in from New York City Red Bulls, wherever he was. What's he doing there? That's another Jimmy Lunsden. Yeah. You granted, the players aren't good enough and all that. But there's certain decisions like, during a game, you're looking at it and going, why have we done that? What's going on here? Why is Phil Jones starting against Scousers coming off at half time? Why are we getting battered again off Liverpool? Why are we getting battered again off City? Why are we just not turning up for games? Why are we getting knocked out of the Champions League after 2 abysmal performances against Atletico? We got away with it in Madrid. Yeah. We did. Let's not kid ourselves that was a draw in terms of performance. It was a smash and grab. Do you know what I mean? I said it at the time. I was well relieved when I left that stadium. And it's like, we come to Old Trafford, we have 1 shot in the first half, and that's it. That's awful. And I just feel like, you're right. Everything you said, I agree with you. I'm not saying, I know that might sound contradictory, but you're right. But for me, I still think, I didn't expect to win the Champions League. I know Matt said, Ford is coming and all that, but I didn't realistically think a guy I never heard of was going to win the Champions League with these players. But I expected us to get past Middlesbrough. I expected us to turn up for at least 1 leg against Atletico Madrid.
Don't tell me you thought we'd beat Everton.
Yeah, I mean, how bad
you're living
was
in a dream world,
How bad was that? Everton, I expect us to hold on to a 2-0 lead against Aston Villa.
Newcastle, one of the best teams in the world.
I expect us. Here's one for you. Watford.
No.
There's a good chance.
Pick up more than a point against Watford.
There's a good chance Watford and Everton will be in the Championship next season, and they've taken 4 points off us, both of them.
The Championships League. We're not a Champions League team. They are.
It's difficult, man, to criticise Ralph Rangnick because I like it when he talks and says things. I do. I like hearing that, and I think when he calls out things. But then I look at some of the decisions. He begged Cavani to stay. Why? Where's that got him? Do you know what I mean? He's fell out of. He seems to have fallen out of a few players.
I think the whole thing goes back to the point I was making about Carrick was, if what's happening on the pitch has gone well, and we've seen those 3 games, and I think you look at it and you're like, all right, these guys you start seeing, you know, Fred press very high. That, by the way, Fred's turn of form didn't happen under Ralph only. He's been great under Ralph. But I think that actually started under Carrick. You see the Villarreal game, him pressing so high up to turn the ball over to then give Ronaldo the ball for the goal. The Arsenal game, him, you know, connecting with Sancho on that inside left side, you know, winning the penalty, then assisting Bruno in that game as well.
Yeah.
You look at Fred in those performances, you know, and now you see like, oh, all right, Carrick and whoever was with him, then coaching the team, Fletcher, whoever it was, had a plan for him. And then you start looking at the Chelsea game again, like you're looking at some of our midfielders and you feel a lot more compact. You feel there's a lot more structure to what we're doing, and it just opens up as Ralph comes in. Now I understand what Ralph wanted to do with the whole, you have to be pressing, you have to win the ball back. The best teams do that, and I think no matter how City, you know, do on the ball, you know, when they dominate sides and then they're passing it across the opposition's box, you still need to work hard off the ball. Man United weren't doing that. What I would have done personally is, okay, you want to bring Ralph in. It's like they were so worried about someone coming in and really moving the needle, making a difference from the top. Like, they didn't want to give anyone any sort of control. All right, it's going well on the pitch. Bring Ralph in above Carrick mid-season. Bring him in straight away, and let's start making changes. Let's start maybe planning and around that, and say, okay, Carrick, you're only here as an interim. We're not going to make the same mistake as Solskjaer. We're going to get in contact with Eric Ten Hag, as we've done. We've made the right decision mid-season, and start building on. But that's for me.
Well,
like,
again,
if
though,
Ralph wasn't at that level, then that's the move that I would have made as a manager.
Let's go back to actually when Solskjaer got sacked. The amount of clamour for, don't just get rid of him, get rid of all of them, get rid of Carrick, get rid of McKenna, get rid of Phelan. That was what everyone was saying. Carrick had 3 weeks
massively.
where he did well and then left, and then everyone went, you know what, he did a good job, Carrick.
Look
at the
McKenna.
time, everyone was saying...
Look at McKenna now, though. Like,
he's got finished 11th with Ipswich.
No, but it's not that.
I'm not saying they should have got
technically about the football they're playing.
A lot of people were against them at the time.
Do you know
I have
what?
to remember that.
You're right.
If they'd said Carrick is going to be the manager till the end of the season,
there was a feeling of like it's just continuing what Ollie has done, and I think there's a little bit of hindsight going on because Carrick did well in those few games. No one really knew how he was going to get on. I certainly didn't predict that.
We're bringing a coach,
and let's not forget, Rangnick won the first two of his first 3 games as well.
Yeah,
so it's
my issue with it was you're getting in a guy who's not known for his short-term fixes. He's not known for his quick fixes. He's not. That's not what he does. He does long-term planning and stuff, that sort of stuff. He'd not been in the dugout for 3 years. He's never managed in the Premier League. He didn't, I don't think, command a lot of respect from some of these players who'd never heard of him. Yes, he'd been to a Champions League semi-final where Darren Gibson and Anderson turned his team over. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a Champions League semi-final. I'd take it.
Only got there because he had Neuer.
Yeah, but you know, you can't hang your hat on some and say, oh, well, I got to Champions League 10 years ago. You know, how did that get on when we got battered over both legs? It need a bit more than that, and I think that's not helped him. I think losing his backroom staff hasn't helped. I think if Carrick had stayed as his assistant, like you were saying, that would have helped him because it's someone who knows the players, who's probably respected. That could have helped him. I think he's not helped himself with some of the manoeuvres he's done.
Chris Armas
basically said, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's hard to get the top people in January.
He
basically said Chris Armas is a bag of shit, and I can't get anyone I want.
I mean, this is the thing, Av. It's like, you know, we keep hearing this noise of it's rubbish, but there's not much more I can do. You know. Like, I'm not up to it. My assistant's not up to it. I know he's not saying these words, but that's the sort of thing you're getting. And I just feel like the problem we've got with Ralph is he's likeable. I like his honesty in press conferences. I've sat in them press conferences myself trying to get something out of a manager. You're getting nothing. He's coming in there and saying it as it is. He's more honest than even Jose was. He's just giving you the honest answer. He's honest about the players. But it's just, in terms of performances, for me, a manager has to take responsibility for some of the performances. And yes, you mentioned City and Liverpool. The world's apart from us at the minute. They just are. But come on, man! Like some of these games, Watford, Everton, Middlesbrough,
it's
Burnley,
when you
Aston
see Newcastle
Villa,
giving
2-0 up against Aston Villa, and you've got 20 minutes to go. You know, come on, man! It's like I'm watching this week in, week out. It's like
when you see Newcastle giving a better game to Liverpool than we did, and that's where it's a mental thing. And personally, I think where it actually went wrong for Ralph is I'd probably align it with the Middlesbrough game because I think he started almost second guessing himself. I think one of the better performances we had under Ralph Rangnick was West Ham at home. Yeah. And the 1-0 winner. And I think, that was obviously winning it in the final moment with Rashford's goal or whatever. But I felt like as a team, we faced one of the better sides in the league, who were one of the most informed sides in the league at the time, limited them to pretty much like half a chance in that game, and actually played well, like as a unit. And I think Fred was great that game. I think Bruno was great, and we played that 4-3-3.
We really stopped them doing anything, didn't we? Which was one of the few times we
that's
fully
what
controlled the
And
game.
he got his subs right.
Yeah.
And
He got his subs because
right,
when he brought on, I think, Martial and Cavani, I think a lot of people go in. I think they take Fred off. I think I can't remember.
Well, Martial, Cavani, and Rashford on in it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure about this. They all combined with Ronnie to get the goal, and you think he's nailed that. Everything he's done now is spot on. You're right. Good result against a good team. With his tactics spot on. I can't fault a manager who changes things and he gets the result that he's asked for. Absolutely brilliant. The problem is those sort of instances in those games when he's done that are few and far between.
Yeah, exactly.
The only other thing is that after that game, we lost in some way, shape or form 3 forwards. Martial went on loan. We lost Mason Greenwood, and Cavani hasn't played since then. Like we've lost 3 forwards there, and he mentioned it yesterday. He said we need to bring in 2. Because you look at that front line, he's had Alanga, who I think you've mentioned, Jam. You're not too sure about. He's good. I like his energy.
Yeah.
I like him, but I don't think he's a world beater.
He's just turned 20. I'd love to see him spend the next 10 years at Old Trafford and score 200 goals, whatever. I just don't know if he's at that level.
No, I don't
think
he is.
The problem I have with him, it's not with him, is with us. Are we putting too much on him?
Yeah.
He's gone sort of like 11 games now without a goal. I know he played. He got an assist last night. I was so buzzing for him when he got that because I wanted, to get something there. I know it's not all about numbers, but you want an attacker to get something. Yeah. And I'm just worried about we're going to run this kid into the ground.
We always do that with
so many youngsters we do it with.
We always do it.
Are we going to be sat in 3 years digging him out, going, Alanga's rubbish, get rid of him? I just hope we can manage him a bit better next season because I'm not sure he needs to be in the starting 11 every week. I don't think
we've got 4. We've had 4 forwards.
Yeah, you're right.
We've had Ronaldo. You've had Rashford, Sancho and Alanga, and that's it.
There's no partnerships really forming in that team, and that's one thing we spoke about when we've done like the Ten Hag video. I did it with Joe that day, and I said, how when you look at the best teams in Europe, you run across, from your right, your centre to your left, and you just see the partnerships between the midfielders and the fullbacks and the strikers coming wide, and they just know it. It's just in their mind. There's a sequence that repeats itself, and I think Man United don't have that as a team when they're playing football. And this is where I'm like, again, the Chris Armas thing is a good point you make because he's not really renowned, even from what I read, for on the ball stuff. It's all about winning the ball and the energy and stuff. And I think United have had a big issue since Van Gaal had gone. And listen, Van Gaal, dull, boring, some of the stinkiest times I've had at Old Trafford, basically sleeping. But to be fair to Van Gaal, we kept the ball a lot of the time in areas where you needed to keep the ball. The issue is penetrating, teams and really getting into the area and consistently creating chances with high energy football. That lacked it. You could have. This is what a proper club would have done. All right, Poch is the guy that sort of brings that. You move Van Gaal on, you bring him in, and it's like the same thing with Sir Alex. When Sir Alex had gone, was Moyes the guy? You bring in someone like Sir Alex, or you look at Mourinho, Ancelotti, and so on and so forth. Like, these are the decisions that have destroyed the club over like the last 10 years or whatever. And then this is where I hope now that I think we do see something very different with Erik Ten Hag, where it's you're bringing in a manager who's the modern manager, the new guy, but it's not just about that tag of like being the new guy on the block and everyone's hyping this new manager up. And obviously the guy's like, he's over 50 now. I think he's even older than Pep, I'm pretty sure. So it's not like he's just come through now. I seen a picture the other day of him at City away in 2007. Yeah. Erik Ten Hag with Twente as the assistant manager to McMahon. So like the guy's been around. Yeah. But I think it's more of him like actually showing his football in Europe. We've seen what he did in 2018.
The guy's 52 years old, man.
What's he been doing for the last 20 years? That's what I want to know.
Been chilling with what's that guy's name?
Pep Guardiola.
No, well, Pep Guardiola for a bit. Yeah.
All right. So in 2012, he started managing Go Ahead Eagles, and he finished. He finished.
Who are the Go Ahead Eagles?
They're a Dutch professional club from the city of Deventer.
Go Ahead Eagles.
He finished playing in 2002. What was he doing for 10 years? Just on the Raz.
No, he was
sauced up. 10 years of a gap there.
The other day,
when was he Pep's assistant? Though?
Yeah, he must have been 20.
He wasn't his assistant, was he? He was
in Bayern Munich 2 manager.
Manager. But he worked. Supposedly, they did work together because obviously they wanted that crossover between the reserves and.
So what? Go on. What was he doing? Like you've got his stats there.
Coaching 20 and stuff, wasn't it?
I don't know. Under teams managed it's that, but I think he was coaching.
Yeah,
it was a proper like internship he did there. Proper like.
Who's the
I
guy
don't know,
that
it's
was
a long
Sir Alex's
while.
assistant?
No, I'm not having a go at him. It's just it's mad that he's basically managed
McLaren.
one real sort of big name team
Yeah.
by the age of 52. Is unusual, isn't it? Let's be
Well, you
honest.
see, like some managers
These
or
days.
some coaches and stuff, they do the rip, don't they? They do it long term because they're not big superstar for players.
Yeah.
So they have to do it the long and hard way, and plus they want to learn the craft and stuff like that. And you
I
can't.
don't
I
mind
mean,
that.
I'm not really too fussed about what he was doing in 2008 or whatever.
No, I'm not.
You know, his record at Ajax is what I'm looking at, and he's obviously very good. Took over a team that hadn't won anything for 4 years. Is it 4 years without a title? I think, or 3 or 4 years. And he's won. If he wins this season, that'll be. I know he didn't have a season because of COVID, but he's basically won the title every year.
Yeah, they were top of the league when that.
Yeah.
season was
I like
abandoned.
the way they've actually been winning these titles though, because it's very much like City, Liverpool here.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
PSV, Ajax is
you draw a game, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
his
exactly.
win ratio. I looked at his win rate. I thought it was like something wrong. It was like
disgusting.
75% or something.
Unbelievable.
They were doing it on Sky and he went, it's 74%. But then if you just go to his league,
It's like
win rate,
82%.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
How's that happening?
Yeah.
So
Also, I think on Ajax's like YouTube they have like these 10-minute highlights of all their games. So I've just been proper bored, just like watching loads of these Dutch
I went
games.
through the Champions League run.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I still say to this day? They'd have got through to the beating Scousers.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Yeah.
I think they win that final.
I think they
Spurs
played-
thought that was the
they played with no fear,
Spurs
innit?
thought that as soon as Mora scores that goal,
That was it.
Spurs they were done.
Give me the Champions League. Yeah, that's
Even
it.
the fans, I've seen the fans getting interviewed. Don't matter about what the result is in the
Yeah.
final. We've got there.
Ajax played with no fear in it in that
Yeah.
Champions League
Yeah.
run. They didn't care it was Juve, they didn't care they were facing Ronaldo, Allegri's side.
Dusan Tadic was like
Like,
the best
all
player
these
I've ever
guys.
seen in my life.
When he retired
Yeah.
from 20, he became the under-17s manager, then the under-19s manager, then assistant manager to the first team for 3 years,
Assistant
ended
to
in
the regional
ended in
manager.
2009. Then he went to be assistant manager at PSV until 2012. Then he was a head coach from there on out.
See what I mean? So he's done his
It's
apprenticeship.
proper, but I mean that's like I wasn't trying to knock him before.
No,
by
no,
the
you're
way,
not.
he's fucking put the work in there.
'Cause
That's
it-
20
like-
years from, or 15 years from retiring to getting the Ajax job. I know Utrecht is I'm not knocking Go Ahead Eagles or whatever, but to go from retiring to managing a top team, 15 years of work he's put in. That is impressive, isn't it?
Good though.
Can
He's
learn a
got
lot in 15
experience,
years.
hasn't he?
Better than
As a
just picking up
coach.
like an ex. And this is not digging Ollie out, by the way.
Why are you having to
Just
go at Ollie
solely.
for?
But
You just got sacked for fuck's sake. Is that
You're
not
doing it here
enough?
now.
Do you not
listen,
remember
I still love Ollie. But
Aye.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
2005.
Remember the 8-1 at Nottingham Forest?
Yeah,
I
4 goals
don't
off the
because I was
bench.
like 2 years old.
You was 2.
Probably.
That's no
When
excuse.
was that?
Excuse.
When was that?
1999.
I was 1.
You was 1.
So you were there then?
No, I wasn't. I was there.
YouTube is
somewhere.
yours, same.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sorry, what are people saying? Are they?
People are interested, Jay.
Are they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good interest.
Well, Aditya says, with the amount of incompetence we had, it's better to not be in the Champions League, use Europa League and Cups for academy graduates. This gives new staff time. One thing I will say about that is, whilst I don't agree with it, I almost said I did.
One thing I will say is, whilst that's a load of rubbish.
No, the issue I have with that
I'm not saying
is,
it, Aditya.
I know I kind of try to put the bright side of not finishing the Champions League in that we probably wouldn't win it anyway. What I wouldn't say, though, is that we can't play the academy players in the Europa League.
No.
You fucking Barca are in it this year. No. We might not win. We probably, actually, statistically, we probably won't win it with our first team, let alone the graduates. Like it's a good competition. It's hard. It's harder to win than the League Cup, and we never win that.
With these kids.
Yeah,
you can't just go to a load of children, right? By the way. You first of all, you're flying over to Estonia. Yeah. You've got a game there next Thursday. Then a week later,
it's minus 29.
You're at the new camp. Oh, what, you've just been beaten 12-0.
Yeah.
That'll psychologically ruin you for the rest of your life. But don't worry about it.
Who have we played in recent seasons in the Europa League? Liverpool, Sevilla, AC Milan, Roma, fucking Villarreal, Inter Milan. Like, think of the teams that are in it. It's solid.
I know.
So like, our first team
they're
will
either
struggle
solid
in the Europa
or
League.
you're travelling to like Astana.
Yeah, Astana's like
minus 25 degrees.
Do you know what I mean?
No, pack your toothbrush.
It's all right as a one-off, like playing the kids, but you can't play them throughout the competition.
No, because they just will fail.
No, but I think when you look at the way Ollie done it, I think Ollie smashed that Europa League run. You know, that one was so obviously like it was so annoying that we didn't win it in the end. But the first Europa League run where Sevilla knocked us out, we should have won that game. We missed multiple big chances. That was on the players.
I think one of the things we overlook is to finish in the top 4 and have a Europa League run. There's not many teams do that.
We look like a
Europa
strong
League, you
top
have
four
to
team.
sack off the league because it's so difficult.
It's only Chelsea.
But I think it's because he managed.
Really?
I think because
Yeah.
Oli managed the squad well.
Yeah.
I think Oli actually
And
managed the
also,
squad well.
and this is going to be the least popular opinion probably
In that
given.
run.
We all liked him, and he was good in certain
Who?
games and all that. But he was so short-changed
Oh,
with
here we
Gallo,
go.
wasn't he? Like,
How
I love
How
Odin
dare
and
you.
Gallo. I do. But,
Yeah.
the FA Cup semi-final, it looked like a competition winner. Come on. Like,
He was a much better signing than Erling Haaland. Fucking
Yeah.
hell, what do you mean?
If we'd have got Haaland, we win.
Everything.
Probably 2 trophies that season. Do you know what I mean? Because he takes you from that semi to the final. 100%.
No, but
disrespect
then
to
he
Gallo.
wanted a clause like.
I mean,
Stay
I
out the
can't
back,
understand that
that's
though,
so
because
fine,
we
yeah.
could be in a position now
Can't be
where
doing that.
Haaland is going to City from us and we can't stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
And
that.
they're
I don't
getting-
care. I don't think he makes him any better. I've said this before.
I mean, at the time, I
not-
would have sold my soul for Haaland because I think we needed him.
I'm not saying he wouldn't score. I just don't think he makes him better. How much better can they actually get? Not that much better. And he's injured half of the season. So now not only have you got a striker that, yes, he'll score loads of goals, but isn't going to make them get 115 points
but
in
they're
the
also
season.
bringing the lad from River Plate who's quite good as well.
Well,
aren't they?
okay,
So
yeah,
is
what-
it gonna-
is
I'm
it-
not saying they're not. I'm not
Do you
saying
know
they're
what?
making
I'm not
worse.
having a
That-
dig
but
at
now
you.
you've
But
got
this
there.
is the thing, right? But he's like this kid from River Plate. He could be the greatest footballer that's ever laced up his boots, or he could be dreadful.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't think
Forgot
I'd be
about that,
City
didn't
fans
you?
who go on about him. No.
But I just think it's going to be. It's hard to improve that team. And what isn't fun is having a striker that's only available half of the season and trying to work your squad every week around
I
that.
hope you're all right, bro. I mean, I know you.
not-
To be fair, you've been very consistent. With
But also, think how good they already are. They win the League Cup every year. They win the FA Cup every other year. They win the Premier League every year. And they get to the fucking Champions League semi-finals every year. They can't get that much better.
I'm hoping it might be a Juan Sebastian
Unfortunately.
Veron situation.
Yeah.
We bought Veron and Rude and didn't win a title for 3 years.
It's true. No. We won 2001
two.
with Rude, do we not?
No. We bought him in 2001. We didn't win it. Sorry, we
Oh,
didn't.
yeah, yeah.
We won 1 in 4 years, I think
Yeah.
it was.
We were the best team in Europe, and we weren't improved by the
we
best
didn't win it in
midfield.
2002. We won it in 2003.
Yeah.
And then we didn't win it until 2007.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Am I doing this?
Yeah.
Go on.
Summer is here. The sun is shining. Shirts are off. Not in this room, they're not.
Take your shit off.
And your balls are smooth.
Take,
Do you know what I hate when lads are walking around in
With the big hairy bollocks out.
Eccles Morrisons with the nads out. No, with the tops off. It's not that hot. You're not in a beefer.
you're in the Frozen section.
Yeah, what are you doing?
fuck's
The
sake.
kids are here.
Yeah.
Put your clothes on. You absolute oddball. Anyway, you heard that right. Your friends, because they are your friends, they care, at Manscaped Trade Mats, are here to make sure your beach balls are as smooth as Floridian sand.
Nice.
And I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I love my sand to be Floridian. Yeah? And that's not full of fluoride, that's from Florida.
Nice.
In summer, you want to kill some cold beers. Well, I don't because I'm a recovering alcoholic, but that's a
Yeah,
different
you
story.
could do you could have a ginger beer.
Ginger beer?
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
say
I just
what
want to
kind
make it
of
clear
beer.
because people may clip that up and go, oh, he's changed, hasn't he? Hey. Slagging off Ralph. Ralph had a few, have we, Jay? Not kill the vibe.
Jay, have you killed a few cold beers this morning? You're off your head.
It's like my reporting days. Not kill the vibe with pubes peeking out your swim trunks.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that? I have.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You think, right, you're bowling
Yeah, you
around
have.
the beach. Back in the day, now I don't.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Thinking you're looking cool, you know what I mean? Doing a little bit of a swim and all that. Yeah, you're thinking, like, I look the business. Get out and you realise, oh, I've got spider's legs coming out of my trunks.
Yeah.
Absolute shocker.
Gutter.
Yep. So what do you do? You trim them, don't you? That's
Yeah.
what you do.
Using
And
Manscaped.
Yeah, but in the past, I've used all
Oh,
sorts.
I've used all sorts, mate.
Do you know what I mean?
I used to burn them off.
But did you?
Yeah.
I've used glass
The
that I
lights
found
are
on the
all
beach.
With a light.
No, magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass in the sun.
The right angle.
What are you doing, Joe? Nothing. Just singeing me piano.
Just trying to put a night tick in my pubes using this magnifying
Yeah.
glass.
And how did
Not
that work
easy.
out for you?
Fucking horrible.
Exactly. Well, thanks to Manscaped, all that's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Because Manscaped's giving you the Performance Package 4.0. It's got everything you need to prepare for that summer bod. Yeah. And if you've got a dad bod like me, don't worry about it. You can sort out your tackle and you'll be okay. So inside this package, you've got the Lawnmower 4.0. You've got the Weed Whacker ear and nose trimmer.
Yeah.
I need that. Trust me.
Yeah,
You've got
me
the
too.
Crop Preserver ball deodorant. We all use that, and it's.
Yeah.
I wish we had smell-o-vision was a thing because it smells lovely down here, doesn't it?
Does, yeah.
Hey. And you've also got, and this is what I love, you've got a new multi-function on-off switch. Because I hate these switches which just off all the time. I want the on bit. Right?
Yeah, I'm sick of these. I'm sick of these
Is it?
single function switches where it's just off and then it's done.
That's it.
Can't ever get it back on. Hello,
It's just
No.
been off.
Yeah,
for
sorry, our company
years.
policy is that
You
we
lot are
just
going
don't
on
have
holiday in a
single
bit, aren't
function.
you?
Yeah.
What you can do is you can lock it. So it doesn't mean... No one's
to me.
questioning what's in your bag when
Right.
it's buzzing away through security. No question there.
Especially me and McCall going for security, we don't need anything ticking or buzzing in our suitcases, as we won't be going anywhere other than the police station for a cavity search.
No one wants that, Jay.
No,
Well,
what's that?
I'm just going to go through again, lads.
Can you not hear that fucking buzzing?
Hey,
Get your glove on, dickhead. Rubber glove
go
on.
on then. I'll
Me
get
and
the
you.
checks down. What do you mean? Anyway, yeah, you get all that. And Manscaped's even threw in 2 free gifts for their performance package. You get the Manscaped boxers with the anti-chafing get up. And you also get the shed travel bag that will bring your comfort, to another level.
Fantastic. What do you have to do to get it, Jay?
It's Devils20 is the code at manscaped.com, and you get 20% off with free shipping using the code Devils20. There's a link in the description. If you don't know by now, what have you been doing? Come on. We're rapping about Manscaped constantly for a reason, because they look after us. So make sure you check them out. And a big thank you to Manscaped for
Now's the
sponsoring this
time.
channel.
Now's the time. Get that summer bod sorted. Manscaped.com. Devils20 at checkout. Do you want to see some Ralph Rangnick stats, Jay? Because I know you love him.
You've put the David Moyes one up there. Change them.
No, Jay. You think they might be David Moyes? They're actually worse than David Moyes. Although he's lost.
Although, to be fair, David Moyes
didn't
inherit the Premier League champions.
His loss percentage is lower,
Right.
but his win rate is 40.7%, which is shit.
Yeah.
Which is really bad. That's
his win rate. Bring up Ralph Rangnick on Wiki and look at his win rate. He's got like the stats at the bottom. It's around that for a lot of his clubs. I was looking at it when he arrived, and it is around. I think I might be a little bit wrong.
But this is a massive jump.
I know,
Like
you're
Schalke
right.
and
But
RB Leipzig
Hoffenheim.
then.
He's never sort
Hoffenheim.
of shone as a manager. I know he had that run in the Champions League to the semis, but you can kind of do that one year, can't you?
How?
Like that happens. Like I'm not dismissing it because, like I said, I'd love to be there now, but that's not the be all and end all one season in the Champions League semi. But he's always had a sort of thing where he's done okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I think for me. I always compared him, not tactically or anything, but just in sort of stature and history and what he's done, a little bit with Bielsa. In the sense that
You're all right.
I've got windy pops.
Oh, yeah.
You've got Pep Guardiola and others who absolutely revere Bielsa like he's the best thing ever, and yet his record isn't quite as good as theirs. Well, not really, nearly as good as theirs. Ralph is the same where you've got Tuchel, you've got Klopp going, Nagelsmann going, oh, this guy's he's the godfather of gegenpressing and all this stuff. But his record isn't nearly as good as any of those lot. And it felt a little bit like that. He's a revered, experienced, venerable manager, coach who's done it all, who, has probably tried innovative things and done things and structured clubs and done all that stuff. But when it comes to getting in that dugout and getting on that training pitch and getting some of these quite frankly, lazy bastards to work. He's not been that guy, has he?
His overall win rate as a manager.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just league games or if this is total, but either way, it's a big sample size from 749 games. Is 47.53%.
I thought it was in the 40s.
Which is
it's okay.
fine. Maybe again, you look at who he's managed, and he was never going to have a 70% win rate, was he? But yeah, his best ever win rate was 58% for Leipzig, but that was just 1 year there.
I do think, to be fair to him, there's several things, and I will stick up for him a little bit, because I don't want to feel like I'm being all one-sided against Ralph Rangnick here.
You are, though.
I'm being critical, because I think any manager who manages Manchester United deserves to have an honest assessment of their results, not just everything else.
Yeah.
But he wasn't helped with his backroom staff, losing a lot of them, and then bringing in someone who's obviously well out of his depth. He wasn't helped with nothing happening in January. He could have probably done with someone. Just something to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Just a symbol of intent.
Just something. Give you a little bit of a refresher, or you're just getting, I know we went big in the summer, but would it have killed him to get a young midfielder in, or just someone
Kamara,
who'd go, here's another player or another attacker. You mentioned all these attackers went wayward for a multitude of reasons. Just to bring in someone, just a little bit of something, but that didn't happen as well. Then you've got the whole fact of, you're trying that 4-2-2-2. And everyone I bought into it. I was like, yeah, why not? I didn't even know there was another formation you could do. This is news to me. This is amazing. And then it's like, you try it, and I think you tried it for a reasonable amount of time, then when it's not working, you have to scrap it. And then all of a sudden, you're setting up like we did under Ollie. And you're thinking, what's going on here? You know, this is very similar to an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer type of setup. And it's just as
It was exciting at the 4-2-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How old are you,
Until
Jay?
we played Wolves.
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 42.
How long have you been watching football for?
Since I was about 5.
Had you ever seen a team play 4-2-2
No.
until this year?
I thought I knew it all.
How good is
I've
that?
never heard of Gegenpress.
He's brought you that, though?
And I never heard of
Clearly not
4-2-2.
played FIFA, has he?
No, I don't. No.
Yeah, 4-1-2-1-2.
Yeah, I thought like I was. Oh, and I thought this makes loads of sense. You know, Rashford and Ronnie up front, and then you've got like Pogba and Bruno and all. Yeah, this looks great. And then after like
And then he played Pogba and Bruno up front against City, and you're like, what are you doing, mate?
yeah.
What's
And this
happening
is
here?
another criticism
What are you doing,
I have of
mate?
Ralph Rangnick. I think at times his honesty has been refreshing. At times his man management, I think, has bordered on the side of harsh. I will be honest, and I still can be a little bit emotional with some of these players. I thought Jesse deserved the run out ahead of Cavani. I've fallen out of love with Edinson Cavani massively. I think no matter what you think of Jesse Lingard, he did score the winner in the FA Cup final. He did score in the League Cup final. He has won 3 trophies with Manchester United. I know his brother was saying 4. I'm not counting the Charity Shield. I know. But he's a player that's been at the club since he's 9 years old, played a lot of games, scored a lot of goals for United, important goals, and doesn't really deserve to get treated like that, in my opinion, for what it's worth. I think at times the management of other players hasn't been great. Rashford's form's fallen off a cliff, I know it has, but I don't think he's been handled particularly well. I don't even think Alanga, who I really like, has been handled particularly well. I think there's times when he could have done with a bit of a breather. And now at the 11th hour, all of a sudden, Juan Mata's getting games. Why now? Why not earlier then?
I felt like last night it should have been one or the other. Either give everyone a run out. Jesse comes on, Cavani comes on. They all get a play.
3-0 up.
Do whatever. But to not bring Jesse on and bring Cavani on felt wrong. Because I don't think either of them should have come on. I think you should have given Garnacho another half an hour.
Okay.
You should have
Do you know what? I can.
That to me, I felt.
I understand that.
Bring
I don't agree
Garnacho on
with it,
for
but I get
Alanga. Don't. Cavani doesn't need to come on. He can do the walk at the end of the pitch. He doesn't deserve half an hour.
Where do you
20
stand with
minutes.
the Cavani
I don't
stuff?
think so.
What about any of you?
I didn't want him to come on.
No.
To be honest. Like, it's a piss
I
take.
get annoyed when he gets cheered.
Where's he been? Where's he been? And then he turns up on the final day, and then just like, yeah, go on. I fancy like 5 minutes on the pitch, try to get a goal.
He's got more chance than he has goals.
And he did look like it was like, I'm going to try and do that overhead kick he tried was like, I'm going to try
God, by this
something.
time.
I
didn't
didn't
see it. I didn't
pass from
see it when he
Ronaldo.
came
Was that the one like? Where
Yeah,
Ronaldo
but it was
passed?
just
Great
like,
pass
I'll
from
try and
Ronaldo.
take the nick out.
If he had played a few games recently, he might have been able to score that.
Maybe.
He fell
You
on his
can
face
say, right,
instead.
and I know I'm going to
Absolute
sort
fraud.
of proper lose the room in this one,
Joking, love you.
but
Eddie.
you know, you can say what you want about a lot of players. You can say what you want about Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba's getting booed and people telling him to F off,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I understand. I don't agree with it. Harry Maguire, yeah, getting dogs abused. Now, I don't agree with it. I didn't do it, but okay, I know people who've done it, so I understand that people getting that angry and frustrated. They're getting that, right? Now, they've played a lot against Manchester United. Some of them, won things to Manchester United. They've tried. It might be, not always good enough, but there's been games where they've given their all. There's been seasons where they've played a lot of football. There's been seasons where they've been, great for us. And you've got a guy who trained all week before the derby, and the day of the derby thought, nah, do you know what? I don't fancy this one. Done nothing all season. He's on a wedge, and he's getting revered. And I'm like, where's the consistency?
I think with Cavani, it's the
what is that about?
We signed the guy on a contract when he really didn't want to stay, and that's where it became a problem. Like for me, what he gave us last season, this is why I do sort of have the, that I do like the fact that he has played for us in that sense. That season under Ali, last season, the Southampton game,
last season, bro.
Team,
we was all loving him,
yeah.
And I said he ended the number 7 curse. And then I seen some stupidness saying, well, he spat his dummy out when Ronaldo took his number. Oh, what, so just gave up for the season? Is that how it works? I'm wearing 21 now.
And I don't
Edinson
think it's
Cavani
that,
didn't know
and I
the
don't
number
think
7
it's that.
then.
See what number you are when you're running around.
He was
He
never
didn't
going to
know
play
about
this
it.
season. He made this decision that I'm not going to play this season. Whenever I fancy going to Uruguay or wherever he wants to go for like a break on his 300k a week contract or whatever madness that we're paying him, I'll go do that.
It was, and I think we
It's a
get this
mistake.
thing where sometimes the manager feels backed into a corner a little bit. Like with Gallo, it was either a Gallo or nothing. Trying to get Josh King that day, for God's sake, and he's not remotely good enough himself. So it was like, Ollie had a decision: you either get a Gallo at 11:30 or you get an out. So we went with, all right, I'll have a Gallo. Cavani, it's like you've extended him for another season. And at the time, let's not forget, we didn't have Ronaldo.
And he just got 17 goals.
Yeah, or you stuck with Rashford, who's very erratic in terms of his goal scoring. Let's not forget, I love Marcus, but last season he scored 11 league goals. So you can't rely on him. Mason, who's a youngster who's a bit patchy. Obviously, we didn't know what was going to happen with him. And Anthony Martial, who just got you 4 Premier League goals. So I get it from Ollie's point of view. He probably thought, well, I need another body who can get me goals. And Cavani, if he's fit, starts, yes, I'll have him.
No, but this is where it's like the club has to take a big responsibility, because how are you not scouting centre forwards across all of Europe that are young, that have got the stature, that you're going to bring in, and you're going to be like, okay, there's quality there. Of course, like we said, we didn't know what was going to happen with Greenwood or whatever, but then you've got Martial, you've got Rashford, you bring someone in who's young, who can, I think a lot of the time we just got to stop like this whole thing of just signing players on contracts that clearly don't want to be here. Like, it's just destroyed the club. And honestly, it looks like we could be doing this with Pogba, and I hope not. I honestly hope it doesn't happen. Like, that is going to be a joke.
Well, and that's coming from a deal, yeah.
Contract's on the table. I don't think, because I don't think there's other options.
And do you know what?
I like him.
I was chatting about this in the stand last night, right?
Joke.
People go, one of my mates was like, nah, the crowd, he's lost the crowd, right? Everyone hates him and all this sort of nonsense. And I tell you what, right? I said, do you remember during lockdown, people had had enough of Paul Pogba. He barely kicks a ball for us. They had enough. We went to Spurs away for one of the first games back after lockdown. I think the first game back. He comes on a sub, gets us a penalty, I think. Everyone loves him again. It took him 20 minutes to turn it around. He
showed his class. But then I think
that's what happened again.
In that season.
If he did sign a deal and we had Villa at home or something at start next season and he bangs in a one from 20 yards, everyone will love him.
But the thing is, if I'm Pogba anyways, I don't care what, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I'm taking 500k a week.
That's what I mean.
It's like, you can abuse me with whatever you want to abuse me with. I'm walking out on that pitch and getting 500k a week. I don't give a shit.
I don't think he's got options.
No,
many,
why? This is a guy that's a World Cup winner. He's 29, I think. He's not up past it. This is a guy that on his day, and I'm sick of saying this sentence when I talk about Paul Pogba, but I have to. On his day, is world class.
It's more than just on his day though, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me. But I think Paul Pogba has generally had good periods for United. I think you look at the start of last year, 2021, the Burnley game, Fulham game, 2 winners in those games, played a crucial part. What are the
you've just named out 2 of his 3 goals for the entire season.
No, but it's not just the goals though.
Do you know what I mean?
No, but it's not just the goals.
I could literally name you, right, Paul Pogba, 7 games I think in his United career where he's took the game by the scruff of the neck.
No, because I think like when Ollie took over in 18-19, when he was playing on that left of a free, he was dangerous every game, whether he was getting goals or assists. With a midfield of that ilk, it's more than just goals.
You're going back 4 years, isn't it?
Started 2021 up until the Euros for France. He was good for United. He got injured against Everton,
and that's another thing. He's been injured for a quarter of his time for United.
That's what I'm saying.
This season, he scored 7. He got 7 assists in 2 games. Right, broke the record. And he didn't do anything to them.
But that's my issue. My issue is the injuries. My issue is the fact that he's been missing a lot of the time. Because when I'm looking at his last good run for Man United, started 2021. Like I said, he's got those couple of goals. Those are just examples. He did more than goals. I think he performed very well in that period. We face Everton at Old Trafford in the 3-3. We're still top of the league, by the way, on that day. We're on a very good run of form. You lose Paul Pogba, and we actually lose something in midfield.
Oh, yeah, I'm not disputing that. But then as well as getting Abdul, right, and whether you like this or not with Paul Pogba, and this is the thing, if you've got a player of that quality, he's £89 million player. I want him in the big games to step up. That's why he's there. If I wanted a player who's going to drop 6 or 7 out of 10s against Burnley, I look at Scott McTominay. I look at someone like Paul Pogba, and all right, in Stockholm he did a decent job, got his goal, and fair enough. Against Villarreal, he just doesn't turn up at all. I've seen Cavani running past him to go and get the ball. Come on, man. Against Chelsea in the FA Cup final, again, he's not. You know what I mean? Like, they're the games I want to see Paul Pogba go. He did it in the World Cup, and Kante went off in the World Cup final, and Paul Pogba was still popping the ball around and scoring goals and dominating the game.
He's got the reputation and the wages.
Really seen that in the big games for him.
And the fame.
Over that game against City, I should say.
Of one of the biggest and best players in the world. But he doesn't have the performances to back it up.
I just think it's the
guys. Do you guys generally believe if we bought? Sorry to stop you. If we bought Thiago in the situation that we're in, and you look at Thiago's recent form for Liverpool, but if you bought Thiago, it'd be the same exact thing that we've seen with Pogba. A lot of it is a structural thing. If Liverpool had got Pogba last season in that same situation that they got Thiago, Klopp would have him playing as Thiago is right now in that role, in that high 8 role. You know what I'm saying? Having more space in those advanced areas, being able to actually make that switch of play. Where we've seen Pogba at is that whenever he's played on that left of a free, for me, majority of the time, if I'm turning up at Old Trafford, which has barely ever happened, by the way, with Pogba playing on that left of a free, it was only happened for a few periods, he's almost always, for me, had a decent game or looked strong. Then what our managers have done is you start getting worried. You're like, okay, we're going away to City and Liverpool. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to go and play McTominay and Fred, and then like stick you here because we haven't got a real defensive midfielder because we can't take the game to these teams. Now I do agree. There's times where I'm like Chelsea FA Cup final, for example. There you go. There's a
because in the semi-final against Spurs was one of his best ever games for us. I thought it was mint, and you know we turned that game around. Brilliant performance by Pogba. I thought other players played well as well, and then you think, the final, going in that final, I know Lukaku got it or not, but I was very confident. And that's a game where I thought Paul Pogba could have dominated that
in those games, I think it's fair to dig him out.
Yeah.
But I think a big issue is the fact that, like him, like Marcus Rashford, like a lot of these players that, listen, it's just so easy to just go in and say, this guy's, he's fell off a cliff, he's not done it, or he's failed at United. But I think the bigger picture is if there's a structure in place, if there things are in place and these players aren't performing, you can put a lot more of the blame on these players. But then players aren't even succeeding at United. No. I promise you, if we were going in the same way we've been going over the last few years, this time next year, Sancho would be falling off. I'm almost certain of it.
I don't think there's I think it's kind of happened this season.
And it's sort of happened with Bruno in a weird way. Yeah. Like Bruno's not been the same, man. You look at the Arsenal game.
I'm not disputing that. I think you could put Pogba in the Scousers team alongside Fabinho and Naby Keita, and they're doing all the legwork for him, and he can just pop balls about, and he would do what Thiago's doing. I think it's the same with a lot of players. I think, I was having this discussion with a City fan on Twitter before. I think you could have put Juan Mata in the City team 3 years ago and they win the title with him in it. Because it's a system, you know what I mean? I think we've got players that, you know what I mean? I think you could swap Gabriel Jesus, maybe not this season, last season for Marcus Rashford, and they win the title. Honestly. I think that, you've got these players that are good in a working system. You're right. I'm not disputing that. I just feel
it's just a poorly built squad.
I think the constant contract stuff, the constant fancy Madrid, the lines you drop in about I'd love to play for Zidane and all that. Yeah. He knew what he was doing and he's wanted to do that all the way through. And I think that has also gone against him.
Mentally, he was gone.
And I think we've been relatively. We talked about Paul Pogba in the right way on this channel and said that he's been good at times. There's been times he's been very good.
Yeah, I'm trying to be balanced, which is hard, isn't it, with Pogba?
He's not as bad as everyone says he is. No. And he is one of our better technical players, if not the best technical player. But you bring that in, the way he does things and, the kind of, you can see in games, the drop of the shoulders kind of thing. You put that with the contract stuff, you put that with the price tag and all those things, and put the fact that he's at Man United. It all kind of comes together.
I think you're right, and I think sometimes he's not helped, and it's not necessarily his fault by some of the hyperbole that goes around him. Of course, yeah. And that's nothing to do with him. No. But I've seen people, I know it's social media, you shouldn't look too much into it, saying things like he's the best midfielder United have ever had, and they're saying it with a straight face. And I think you're just being silly now. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes it's overhyped, but I think in terms of amount of games he's missed, it's disappointing me. About big games where I wanted more from him, and just that little level of consistency. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you're right about the system and everything. I agree with that. And I think we've never ever really, other than maybe Nemanja Matic for a spell, had that DM that he's needed to get.
And that's sort of why I don't even want him to sign the contract. Like that is one of the bigger reasons. First of all, the main one for me is the fact you get those comments and you get those links to Real Madrid and like his agent or like whatever, his brother's coming out and stuff in the past. And then you look at it now and it's just, you don't even know if he really wants to stay here, on top of the fact that you don't sign a defensive midfielder. What are we going to do next season? More of like, let's try and play you alongside Scott McTominay when neither of you are really holding.
We've got to sign someone there.
That is going to be a disaster.
For not
it should be two.
There.
It should be two. Yeah. It should be Kamara on a free, which I can't believe we've not already wrapped up. By the way, I think that is a horrible decision. The fact it's an actual disaster for United. By the way,
so who's this then? For anyone who doesn't know who it is.
Yeah. So for me, Boubacar Kamara from Marseille is a player who, since a lot of people know him now, they might have obviously not looked at him much or watched the French league, but he's a player since he was a teenager, had been playing as a main player in the Marseille side. I'm pretty sure he's captained them a couple of times, played at centre half, played as a holding midfielder, played in a double pivot, very good recoverer of the ball, decent passer of the ball. I think he's a real holder. And I think I always look at these midfielders that from a young age where they're playing and they're getting that responsibility like Declan Rice did. And I think this is why I call it a disaster. I think it's the fact that it's almost perfect for United's situation. You're getting a young player in, you're getting him in for free as well. And it's just exactly what United needed. And that's someone I would have bought in Jan that I think lifts the team, because a lot of the time what actually lifts your side to go on to win things, it's a player that you badly need in that area of the pitch. You look at Alisson for Liverpool when they needed a keeper after Carridge. So you look at Virgil van Dijk, they had those issues at centre-back where they had, was it Saka and Lovren? So, like, why I keep using Liverpool as an example, because they make those decisions that make the difference. And I think if you bought Kamara in for 10, 15 mil, which I would have, because that way you're securing him, you're making sure no other club are touching him in the summer, and you're bringing him to make a difference and learn off someone like Nemanja Matic. But next season, you're losing Matic. So you're not even going to get these games. That Matic, to be fair, in recent games, been very good. So you're going to lose that as well. You need to sign, for me, a 50, 60 mil defensive midfielder if you can sign him. But Kamara can be a big one, because you've got a bit of backup there. Because say your big signing doesn't make it, you've got a guy who's played under some very tactical coaches. I think Vias Boas, of course, didn't do very well here overall, in English football, but he's done well in Marseille, and played with different styles, different managers. I think this season they've got Guendouzi there as well, Marseille, who's done well for them.
But but the thing is though, I don't trust United's scouting team to get the right player anyway.
I don't think they're going to get him because he's stupid. But
where's he going to go then? How
maybe he's. I'm surprised that
Kamara.
I'm surprised that no one's agreed a deal for him. Maybe none of the top clubs. Maybe the top clubs think that they're sorted in that area of the pitch. Look at Liverpool and stuff. But
is he going to do another one that like the Dortmund are kind of doing at the minute? And I think this is where the people a lot of players are seeing. If I go to Dortmund first, I'm not going to get the same money as I am on United, but I'm going to get the big transfer off that to a United, a Madrid, or whatever. To a Liverpool or what. That's kind of the pathway now.
Weirdly,
that I go to Dortmund.
Players who leave Dortmund don't actually tend to do that well for the team that they join.
They make a lot of money though.
They make fucking loads of money.
That's what.
But you look at the top players they've sold.
As a player.
Dembele, not a success at Barcelona. Yeah. He's a good player, but
looking good now.
But no one would say that's been a success for 126 million.
If you're Dembele and Dembele's agent, you've got 12 million in your pocket.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's for a player, but I'm saying I reckon the whole Dortmund get their best player thing. Like Sancho, whilst I wouldn't say I wish we hadn't done that deal, hasn't been amazing for United. He's been okay. Pulisic, fine for Chelsea, doesn't start for him. Aubameyang to Arsenal, pretty good. Mkhitaryan to United, shit. Mario Götze to Bayern, didn't work out. Hummels to Bayern, pretty good. But the only one in the top 10 where you would say that was a brilliant signing, I'm so glad we did it, was fucking Gundogan to City.
Yeah.
Buying a big name from Borussia Dortmund is no guarantee of success whatsoever. So I wonder how long getting players from there will still be the fashion.
That's where it's Marseille. That's why I would go to Marseille and look at getting Kamara in, because I feel he's someone who's played in the French league. He's gone under the radar slightly across Europe's top 5 leagues because his side don't really play Champions League football. And I think he's someone that within a few Champions League football games, you'd look at the teams across Europe and they'd be targeting him, because I think that is such a specialist role, that defensive midfield role in the current, in the modern age, football, where you need to know when you're dropping in and picking the ball off the centre halves. And I like the idea that he has played at centre half as well. He's got that physicality. He's got for me, he lacks. I say he's got that physicality. I think he'd have to up that a bit more in the Premier League. But I think naturally, when he's dropping in, from what I've seen, when he naturally drops in to receive the ball, he can find the passes that he needs to find. I think he appreciates the ball a bit more than our defensive midfielders do. So yeah,
hopefully we want him.
Honestly, that's one thing that I'm surprised.
Who's your Wally of the week, Jay?
It's Boris, isn't it? Boris Johnson. I don't like calling him Boris. It sounds quite jovial. Just another car crash interview. Asked about cost of living crisis, people choosing, eating over heating and all that, and he hasn't got anything to say other than just nonsense and bluster. He's told that some woman was riding the bus because she couldn't afford to leave in her house because she can't afford heating, and he's bragging about bringing in the bus pass for her. And the guy's an idiot.
Abdul next. You were next. Wally of the week.
I've not got one, me. I don't know.
Not for this. You just love everyone, dear.
Wait, I should have one in it. Should I think of one? You do it, and then I'll think of one.
The lad behind me at Old Trafford last night that had signs that said "Have it" on the back of it, and he was waving it all around the same. The kids with cardboard cutouts is one thing, but a grown man with a sign that says "Have it" is it's not good, is it?
I'm going to go with. I know they won, and that's made me more annoyed. Frank Lampard and Everton. How are they beating every good team and yet they're still somehow in the bottom three?
Oh no, they've just had a
It's fucking mental, isn't it?
Have you seen the home record as well? The home record's like decent.
They beat United, they beat Chelsea, and they're in the relegation zone. Like, think
better.
of all the teams they've lost to. And it's absolutely taking the piss that he's in that job, Frank Lampard.
Leeds are going down.
It's unbelievable. Leeds might go down, but Everton might. Everton have got a game in hand, but a game in hand is worth fuck all when you're shit.
Yeah.
Like, on average, the chances they're going to get 1 point from that game in hand.
That's big, though. Leeds' goal difference is minus 34.
Yeah, Leeds' goal difference is always
minus 34.
Yeah, so there's 14 goal difference between them and Everton.
I just
think Leeds go down.
Regardless,
and it's hilarious.
Regardless of the fact that Leeds may well go down, the fact that Everton are in the bottom three with 5 games to go is disgusting. It is awful. They're a top half team year in, year out, and they might get
the
relegated.
money they've spent as well.
Who's yours, Alex?
Mine.
Wally of the week.
I've got one.
Alex
the guy with the Have it sign.
Mine.
Oh, yeah.
You've given me an idea, actually. I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but didn't a guy turn up with "let's leave at the 73rd minute" something yesterday?
Yeah.
And then I've looked at the camera and it was like the 74th minute and he's still holding the thing, waving it.
Oh, you put a tweet, Jay, saying,
"Oh my God,
some respect whether you stayed or not, but don't turn up with a sign saying not leave."
And I'm looking at the time and I'm pretty sure you should have left the ground, mate. So yeah, that's
just easy to ridicule, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, no good.
Anyway, this has been the big debate about Ralph Rangnick and Paul Pogba and other things as well. We got into it. Thanks for everyone who got involved in the comments and the chat. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 on Twitter and the Sloppy Joe's podcast as well. Check that out on YouTube. Link in the description. Episode 2 out today. Check it out if you haven't already.
Alex Bagley, where can people find you?
Baggers_Alex on Twitter.
Abdullah, where can people find you?
Abdul GH_ on Twitter.
Yeah, make sure you're following all those guys. You know where to find me as well. And make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Got loads of good content coming up, so make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.